Hi, just giving an introduction to psychology and what exactly it is because it seems to be in a very weird perspective that many people don't understand. Well, the word psychology is derived from two Greek words, which is one is psyche, understanding the human predicament and what ticks the human mind and how the human brain and mind work. So, understanding the psyche of a man, and logos. Logos is another Greek word which means symbols and words and metaphors, and it's trying to communicate something about the psyche of the human mind. So, it's psychology. And logos comes with this limitation when you're trying to express an experience, because the experience can only be experienced, it can be only put down, you can only point a direction towards it, you cannot make somebody feel something. You have a limitation of logos or words to try to express it and try to make somebody feel what a feeling is, which comes with this limitation because logos is limited by trying to put meaning to an experience. But psychology is studying the human predicament, and with it studying the human mind, as a lot of people in the world have a lot of issues, from post-traumatic stress disorders to depression to anxiety to stress, and the world itself that we live in can make us confront a lot of things, and a lot of these things, Freud commented, has got to do with our initial development when we are developing our personality. And he believed that most people are product of the psychosexual development in their initial years. He put down the psychoanalysis theory, which was of the id, ego, and superego. The id is what you're born with, which is impulsive, and it wants instant self gratification. Everything is for its now. It's like when you see a baby, it wants milk. Otherwise, it'll start crying because it wants instant gratification. It wants it wants a toy. Otherwise, it'll start crying. It'll start making up a racket because for him, only it is important. It's unconscious. We are born in that unconscious stage. How the conscious develops, it goes up all the way to the superconscious. The basic fundamental nature of consciousness is unconscious. The unconscious gets aware of its unconsciousness. That is consciousness. When the consciousness gets aware of its consciousness, it becomes subconscious. And when the subconscious gets aware of that, it becomes superconscious. That is the highest state of human development, and the gurus and everybody else are in superconscious state. Now, Freud said most of our problems are in these five stages of the human development. The first of this stage is the oral stage. When a child is born, everything about it is oral. It's either drinking milk or fondling. Everything about kissing is about the tongue and the mouth. And you can see these kind of problems in adults who may develop habits of excessive smoking or drinking or eating, because in that stage they were denied breastfeeding and they're trying to fulfill that need. So everything like this is connected to some stage of a development. The first stage is the oral. The next stage is the anal. The anal is when we're concerned about cleaning. We're worried about cleaning our shit. We're worried about cleaning everything. Everything's about cleanliness. And apart from this, it goes into the phallic stage, where Freud gave the Oedipus complex, and he explained how everything in our subconscious, that was Freud's point of view, because today psychologists say Freud is best in the history books rather than contemporary psychology, but you cannot deny his impact on the tumultuous unconscious and how it plays a big part in our life, which is accepted in contemporary psychology as well. The phallic stage is where a child is born or a woman is born. A woman thinks that she has been castrated and she is missing out on a penis, and that's why she falls in love with the father, and she's excessively in love with the father, like the boy, the child, the male is in love with his mother because he has an Oedipus complex. He's in thinks he wants to get back to the mother. If you ask a young child who will marry, he'll say his mother, because he's just in love with his mother. And there are cases where children, the son, has killed the father because he felt he was in the way between him and the mother, and he was in love with the mother. And apart from this, going up from the phallic is the latency stage. The latency stage is where you're coming to terms with all these imbalances in your life, from your oral to your anal, and then coming up to the phallic, and then you're trying to find a balance between yourself sexually and the outside world, and try to look at everybody else. And finally, the genital stage, which we are as adults, where we come to a full personality. And according to Freud, all human behavior and attitude and personality is developed in these 5 stages. And human personality is basically an outcome of his psychosexual development in the psychoanalytic birth from child of the id, ego and superego. Again, explain the id. The id is what we are born with. The ego realizes that we have impulsive needs and we want wants, but so does everybody else. So it balances the id's impulsive nature by trying to correct it, that I can't have that because even he may want it. And there's a superego. The superego is our role models and parents who from child have told you this is wrong, that is right, that is wrong, that is right. These work inside us in constant conflict and creating the personality that we are with the 5 stages of the human development. Now, there's a lot to do also with the human body. Can be expressed in body language. Body language, basically, there are 3 kinds of people. Now, all people behaviorally are different, but fundamentally what motivates everybody is the same. They want to be loved, they want to be respected, and they want to be accepted in society. Take a man you see in Taliban or take a man you see in Yale University. Now, they may be both completely different kind of personalities. Their behaviors are different. The person in Taliban may want to kill an American, and the person in Yale is into sports and trying to date a girl and trying to look handsome and everything else. But fundamentally, if you go back to the motivational stage, they're driven by the same need of respect, love, and acceptance from their community. So what drives man is the same, but the behaviors are different. So psychology is the study of how different cultures produce different kind of people and how to study it objectively. Now, body language, we learn there are 3 kinds of people fundamentally. How this helps is, if you know what a person's body language is, you know how to communicate with the person. The first person is the looker, the visual person. He's somebody who will always look, try to make eye contact. He'll be impeccably dressed because for him, his looks are very important. Everything about him is looks. So he'll be looking and trying to make eye contact with everybody. If you don't make eye contact with him, he'll feel left out, that you've ignored him. His whole thing is about making eye contact and looking. The way to deal with him is to talk visually. Can you picture this? Have you seen that? Because everything about him is visual. The second person is the thinker. He may not be so well dressed because he's not bothered about his looks. He doesn't operate by looking. He operates by thinking. For him, the medium is about words and metaphors. So when you talk to him, you have to put great metaphors and language. And can you think this? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because he's a thinker. You get him connected by talking about thinking. And the third person is the feeler, the person who feels. He feels through his experiences. Everything is about him to feel. So you have to talk to him about feeling. I felt this way. What do you feel? That will connect with him better. For example, if you ask these 3 kind of people, can you remember the person you love the most? The looker will visualize the person he loved the most in life. The thinker will think about some communication or something that happened between the person he loved the most that made him love her the most. And the feeler will get back to the feeling that he felt when he was with somebody. So they operate in 3 different levels. And so dealing with them, you have to deal with them separately. So this is the basics of elementary. Then you go into psychoanalysis, behaviorism, and a lot of other subjects which understands the human predicament. And psychology makes it easy for you to deal with man and study his problems. Also be of help to community by getting people a balance in their life, as mental illness is not an illness. It's just a lack of proper orientation with your culture, with your surroundings. It is not an illness. It needs to be just oriented right for their culture and for the surroundings, and everybody can find it. So we have to get away the stigma that it's an illness and try to understand humans and be of help to them so they can be more productive and comfortable in their own skills and understand themselves. Although the biggest criticism for Freud's psychoanalysis was just understanding what is going on in my mind and what happened and why it happened doesn't necessarily solve depression or anxiety. There are different modes and methods about it. I've not come to that part yet. I'm just giving this introduction of it, and when I come to there, I will get to that part of it. Have a good one. Cheers. God bless.